it doesn't mean that you're broken if you're feeling any of those things. It just means that you need to pay attention. You know, if you're feeling joyless, if you're feeling disconnected, if you've got apathy, if you just feel like you're going through the motions, you've got no energy, you're resentful, then it doesn't mean that you're broken. It does just mean that it's time to have a look. It's time for some change.
If you start from one relationship to the next, or even one career into the next, too quickly, doesn't give yourself enough time to transition into what you want, and you're jumping too quickly into thinking that into this kind of codependent energy. Give yourself that space, and the more space or time that you need, that's okay. People think it's wrong to be single for a long period of time. It's the best thing you'll ever do, because you'll find your actual power.
And obviously, reconnecting can be when you're spending time with your loved ones or your friends. Once again, it's about presence, isn't it? We can go, if we're going through the motions, is it because we're doing it without mindfulness? Yeah, it can be a strange, sometimes you can be around people that you used to hang around with, and and it's almost like you feel an alien there, like it's like you're there and doing the same things, but
you're so detached. That's what it is. You're like detached from the situation. It's like you're hovering outside it now. You just don't belong there anymore, and it is such a weird feeling. It's like they're in a different world to you now. Mm-hmm. It's weird, but it's important to listen to that. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to do, but you have to go where your joy is, and you have to go where you feel good and feel high energy now.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that you're broken if you're feeling any of those things. It just means that you need to pay attention. If you're feeling joyless, if you're feeling disconnected, if you've got apathy, if you just feel like you're going through the motions, you've got no energy, you're resentful, then it doesn't mean that you're broken. It does just mean that it's time to have a look. It's time for some change.
Exactly. You're reminding me there of the meme. I mentioned this before. It's the caterpillar and the butterfly sitting on the table, and the caterpillar is like, "Oh my God, you changed," and the butterfly is like, "We're supposed to," and that's it. We were living in a false reality. We were living with a false persona. When we grow up, we take on this personality to fit in with our peers. We once belonged in that group. But as we heal and evolve, we're actually shedding a skin that was no longer, or not really ours in the first place. So that's what you're doing. You're actually transitioning into the best version of you. And you're having to shed the false version of you. So it is scary, because more or less everything you've ever known just doesn't fit anymore. And it is heartbreaking, and it's so hard. But know that you're actually transforming into your best self. So you're actually just getting rid of stuff that no longer fits in order to bring in what does fit. So know that what's to come is better than what's leaving behind. That can give you the hope that, this is not an ending, it's actually a beginning.
Yeah, and I know it's hard when you're not in the mindset me and you are in, but it's not even, ideally, it's not even hoping, it's a knowing,
Yeah.
It's a knowing that it's going to be okay, that there may be periods of time where maybe you feel a bit lonely because you've moved on from one group, but you haven't yet found your new tribe.
Yeah. That happens with a lot of us, and it's scary. Like, when I had to walk away from everyone, it was just like, why am I being left alone? I felt so isolated. I felt like I was being punished. But then when I discovered coaching, and when I started to build my career, my passion, I was like, I get it now. I had to stay away I had to remove myself from energy that would have held me back in order to catapult myself forward, or to propel myself forward. So you actually you need that time alone to figure out what you actually truly want. Because when you're surrounded by the wrong people, they're going to plant seeds of doubt, they're going to hold you back, they're going to say you're not going to, don't take the risk, stay safe. and it's gonna delay your progress. But having that period of alone time in the center can really help you discover who you truly are, who you're truly becoming.
Yeah, and I think it's important. It's just like the advice, if you just got to have one relationship, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that relationship, it's not, I'm not saying toxic or anything, just one relationship comes to an end. They say don't just jump into another one, have some time to rediscover where you are now. Like,
Yeah.
what's the lessons that you've learned
And give yourself
before
actual time. People are years ago when 6 months, like my friends would be like, Jesus, get back off of the horse. 6 months is not enough time to heal, especially if it's a toxic relationship. 6 months is not enough time to heal yourself after a relationship. Give yourself at least a year. And, for me, it's been 7. But, I'm still discovering myself. And I'm happy with that. But,
yeah.
like, going from one relationship to the next, or even one career into the next, too quickly doesn't give yourself enough time to transition into what you want, and you're jumping too quickly into thinking that into this kind of codependent energy. Give yourself that space, and the more space or time that you need, that's okay. People think it's wrong to be single for long periods of time. It's the best thing you'll ever do, because you'll find your actual power, and then you can actually go into a healthy interdependent relationship rather than a codependent one. So just give yourself as much space as you need.
Yeah, and I think it's important, just like jumping from one relationship to another, um jumping from one career to another, or one job to another. And obviously you need money, so I would advise that you do a bit of work on yourself before making the decision to leave, because what can happen is that the way you view things can be carried into your next job. So it's like, before you go, it's this place, it's this job, do some work on yourself in that and see if it changes. And if it doesn't change, it's the place, it doesn't fit, it's not what you want to do, then you can move in to a new job or a new role or a new career with what you've learned from seeing yourself in that difficult situation and working on yourself through it. I think sometimes people either stay stuck and go, oh, this is just the way it is, or people hop from one place to another and they take their unhelpful patterns with them, I think. Yeah. So what causes us to lose our sparkle? So in teaching, we all know that a lot of teachers and professions like teaching, there's a lot of members of staff have got chronic stress. There's a lot of pressures on teachers. So chronic stress, emotional exhaustion, when you have to be emotionally available for so many children, who often have, some of them have really troubled lives, bless them, you're dealing with really, really sad situations or really intense situations, and you're having to manage your own emotions, in a, in to be able to support them in theirs, and with very little time to reset. It's one thing after another, so you can end up with emotional exhaustion from jobs like teaching and any caring profession, really. Living on autopilot. So autopilot's a great thing. I don't have to think that once I put my boot on, I tie my shoelaces. I do it automatically. And if we had to think consciously about every little thing that we do, we wouldn't be able to think of bigger things and possibilities, would we? So autopilot's a great thing, but the problem that with autopilot is often we get stuck in patterns that don't serve us. So it could be that you've just done these things this way because you've always done these things this way. You think about these things this way because you've always thought about these things this way, and never stop to question if that's what you want to be doing, or if that's how you should be viewing or thinking about it. People pleasing. We talked a bit about that. That can really burn you out, can't it?
Yeah.
over giving, which is like people pleasing, and a lack of play and creativity.
Yeah, the most important thing, and this is what I love about inner child healing. Bring your inner child out to play. We're told to grow up too quickly. It's like, oh my God, why are we all so serious? We're getting worried and upset over the smallest little things in life. No, relax, have fun, do some baking, do some gardening, do some drawing, watch some cartoons, go to the playground, go to an amusement park, do anything that just fills you with joy. Be a child again, just go crazy. Just start living with the childlike wonder. Go outside and look at nature and see it as if you're looking at it for the first time. Start to appreciate the little things. Just bring that joy for your life back in, you know what I mean? Just stop taking things so seriously, you know what I mean? We can still do adult things and still be childlike. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And actually, when you're meeting with people, you're in a group of people, usually the person that's the most magnetic is the one that's the a bit childish, the one that just doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's the one that
And that's the person who's done the most inner healing, because they don't care what people think. They're authentic. And I think, I think it's beautiful. I was watching a quiz show and there was an Irish rugby player on it. And, he's a big, big guy, like, you know what I mean? And he was just so giddy and so childlike. And I was like, that guy is after working on himself because he doesn't care what people think. And I just loved it. And that's what we should all be like. We should be all playful like that. And that's just pure authenticity.
Yeah, and that's a worry really in education. I think I don't think there's enough opportunity for play, and I don't think there's enough opportunity for creativity, which is so important. And when I was at school, there was far more play and far more creativity. I mean, afternoons was just like painting and colouring, and I remember we made this a big esophagus. Esophagus, is that? No, that's your throat thing. The thing that the Egyptians go in that sounds quite similar.
Sarcophagus, is that
the one? I'm a primary school teacher, I should know that. I'm not teaching you for it's fine. It's not my topic. Don't do afternoons. But I remember distinctly us all clubbing together and paper mache on, and making this human size thing.
Oh wow!
I can't say it. Yeah, and I mean, there is art and there is, D&T, and they do go out for play, but I think the proportion that children had, say, in the 80s and 90s is far more than they're having now. And I think as adults that we don't, we're not creative. Some people are creative, but I don't think people factor it, because people have such busy lives now, and creativity gets put on the back burner. And that's kind of what's happened in schools. It's like, your English, your maths, your reading, your ICT now, the science. This is all important stuff. Learn the fact, regurgitate the fact,
And oftentimes I think we can give up on creativity because we don't think we're good enough. And that's because we don't get to put that effort in. And that's why I gave up drawing when I was younger, and I'm not good enough. But then as I started to heal and stuff, I was like, if you put enough practice into something, you're going to get good at it. And I just kept going and practicing, and now I love drawing and I love, being creative. But it's all about believing you can, because oftentimes we grow into adults and we're like, oh, I shouldn't draw anymore. It's childish. It's not. It's fun. Get a colouring book. Oh, I love colouring. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. It's so much fun. And just keep at it. Just keep practicing and you'll get better.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the nice things about being a teacher, though, as well, is that you get to do those lessons with the kids, or you get to play, like when I go out at playtime, I'm playing Tig with them, we're playing Simon Says, and I get to play then, and that's good. But definitely there isn't enough play and creativity in life, I think, unless you're somebody who feels that they're creative. And everybody's creative. We're all creators.
Yeah.
You give yourself the space to do it. It's not about being good. It's not about doing a piece of work that could hang in an art gallery. Even some of the most amazing artists.
But you see the artists in art galleries, like Picasso or even Salvador Dali, all that kind of abstract stuff, or that melting chalk on that story, isn't it? But all that stuff is weird and different. You know what I mean? So color outside the lines, it could be worth
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So that's so it's perhaps you have a lack of play or creativity in your life. Um, so how do we reignite the spark? Now we have talked a bit as we've been going about what we should do. So one of the problems is connection. Connection's so important for happiness and fulfillment. And so reconnecting with people, but also reconnecting with the joy. Are you doing, have you given up your hobbies that you used to do? Or when you do your hobbies, is your head somewhere else? Are you in the moment? Are you allowing yourself into a flow state? Flow states are such wonderful places to be. You know, that's where you're just in the moment creating and not really thinking about it so much. It's just kind of all coming together. Um, so doing things like dancing in the kitchen, you know, walking barefoot on the grass, making sure that you have time for you. So it might not be that you have to make massive changes in all areas of your life. It's not, you know, maybe it's not that you've chosen the wrong path. It might just be that you're not factoring in the joy. Or when you
And
are factoring it in, you're not actually in it. You're preoccupied with the other aspects of your life.
yeah, what you mentioned there about nature, like, you know, I found for me personally, I have a fear-based anxiety attached to me, so I was afraid to go outside. That's a big thing as well. If you're not out in nature, that can disconnect you from your soul as well. So I just started to go outside a little more, stand in the grass barefoot. But, you know, I connected with the trees out there then. I know it sounds weird for some people, but I actually just stood with the trees, put my hands on the trees, spoke to the trees, and they actually brought me back to life. Which, and I still go out to the same trees now and actually say thanks to them because I was like, you saved my life. And they effectively did. Because reconnecting with nature was able to reconnect with my soul. But also reconnecting with my inner child as well was a great way for me to not only heal myself, but also reconnect with that childlike version of myself where that creativity stems from. So the more you heal your inner child and your sacred chakra, where your creativity lies, that's where the passion comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you start to find your purpose, is when you actually do those parts of yourself.
Yeah. And obviously reconnecting can be when you're spending time with your loved ones or your friends, you know. Once again, it's about presence, isn't it? You know, we can go, if we're going through the motions, is it because we're doing it without mindfulness? You know, is it, are you actually there? Or are you in your to-do list or thinking? And I've done this, you know, when I told this story before, when I took Elliot to the park, and I don't really like football. I'm not very good at football. But he wanted to play football, and I remember being at the park and looking at my phone, playing football with him, being the goalie while he kicked balls at me, and looking at my phone and thinking, oh, it's been only 5 minutes. I wonder how long I have to be here before he'll be satisfied. You know, how can I, do you think I'll get away with just half an hour? And I caught myself doing that, and I was like, actually I wasn't present there with him. And really, I'm so lucky that my son wanted to play football with me, like, you know. And even now he's because I'm not very good. I think there's other people he'd rather play football with. I mean, that was like about a year ago. Now he's less inclined to want to do that, you know. And these precious moments we wish away sometimes because we are always in a rush. There's so much rush to do everything. There's so much to do and so little time, you know. And so it's making sure that when we are with our loved ones, we are really with them because connection is so important. And we can get, and I know, so I've been doing this YouTube channel, and I bit neurospicy, so I get hyper focused, and so I spend time with my kids, but not as much as perhaps I should, not being as present as I should, because I'm thinking, ooh, that would be a good idea for a reel, or ooh, I wonder if I could use this piece of music with these pictures. Or the time I'm spending with them is just literally asking them what they want to eat, cooking it and putting it in front of them, you know, and that's not connection. That's the housekeeping, isn't it? Yeah, so I was having a little think about after that parts integration on Tuesday that I was the coach, but actually what I realized as I coached this person, I was like, oh my goodness, this is me as well. Like she was mirroring it back to me basically, which was really interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
realize until the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night and that's not me. And with that little epiphany, and I was like, right, you need to sort that. Yeah. Anyway, connection's really important. And we were talking about nature. So it doesn't have to be in nature, but it's easy in nature to have a feeling of awe. Feelings of awe reduce your stress levels. So if you can regularly, daily, or certainly a few times a week, look at something in awe of its beauty, of how of something being bigger than you are, and just looking at how beautiful or amazing it is. So awe can be spiritual. So it could be your connection with the universe. It could be your connection with your God or your religion. That you can get feelings of awe there. Or or in nature, looking at a beautiful sunrise or sunset, you know, just sometimes being in a forest and just looking all around at how beautiful it is, you know.
Yeah, especially at the moment, like I go to the same forest nearly every weekend. You know, I'm seeing it different seasons. And right now, all I see is abundance when I'm there. It's just green, it's lush, it's massive. Everything is just, it's kind of nearly overgrown looking at this stage, but it's beautiful. And every time I go now lately, it's like, this is what abundance looks like. You know what I mean? It's just so, I don't know, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
that you described. It's like literally going to watch the leaves flourish and the greenery come through in summer. It's so amazing. And like years ago, I wouldn't have appreciated that, but to take the moment just to appreciate it, you realize how the little things like that really they're the big things. They really are.
and you can actually, you know, a lot of people, I know a lot of teachers are on holiday at the moment because it's the May holiday. So I've seen lots of pictures on my Facebook feed of people being in all these beautiful places. And that's such a great opportunity, isn't it? To really sit back and just go, wow, all those beautiful beaches. And I love walking around something really historic, you know, like an old castle and things like that.
Yeah, you feel the history there.
Yeah, touching the stones and thinking like how long it's been there and who else would have been there and what it was like. Yeah, so it's kind of, now this sounds bad, it's kind of realizing how small you are, but not in a condescending way, if you see what I mean. It's like realizing that you're this small part of something so much bigger than you, is what awe is, and appreciating beauty. So nature is such a, you know, wonderful place to be, and easy to feel in awe. I love, there's a certain time of year when I'm on the way to work and I go past Gorton Monastery, and as I go past and the sun is rising and there's all the pinks and oranges in the sky, sometimes I have to watch the road carol because I'm just like, oh, looking at it because it's just so beautiful, you know. And just a few minutes of that feeling can reduce your stress levels and protect your immunity. So it's easy to do. It feels good, and it helps your immunity. So it's definitely worth doing. Revisiting old passions. So music, art, writing, movement of some kind. So I've taken up karate. That makes me also, it's the community around that. So if you're, you know, if you, it's not just, you could just do art at home, but if you could get somewhere where you're working with other people doing art, there'll be so much more joy in that because you'll have the connection as well. Learning. I have a thirst for learning
Yeah.
certain things at the moment. Yeah. So reading books is such a good thing, but even information on YouTube and things, or signing up to, there's lots of free courses that you can do on interesting stuff, isn't there? And actually often they've got a community connected with
Yeah.
it as well. So that's, I mean, we met through the expert coach.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in these isolation phases, you're questioning where you're going. But then when you find your purpose, you can find forces, and then you can find your
Yeah.
people. And that's what we did, you know, and that's so amazing. And like in our coaching group now as well, it's expanding. The people, our community is now expanding as well. So it's really beautiful, the people that you're going to meet through your life purpose and through your calling.
Yeah, yeah.